You're listening.
UMT Radio.
The only one campus radio station. This is
98.2 FM.
Stay tuned.
The best is UMT Radio 98.2.
This will be a very bamboo session.
जिसमें होगा बहुत कुछ, which will help you polish and reflect the unique brand within you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Peace and blessings. Hey UMT, I am Sarah Iqbal Khan, and as you know that we have a special corner of guest speaker sessions in our program of Hey UMT. So today we are gonna have a very, very impactful and a very meaningful session. Today we have in our studios, we have Ms. Nariman Qureshi. She's Director HR British Council. And we also have Mr. Ali Chauhan. He's Assistant Professor and Director, MBA Program Global Management at School of Business and Economics. And before we proceed into the session, this is very important for our listeners to know that today we'll be talking about thought leadership. And it's not only about thought leadership. Basically, we'll also be talking about that what initiatives should HR take in developing thought leaders, and how will it impact the living culture of any organization. So before getting into the session, I would like to give a brief introduction about Ms. Nariman. Ms. Nariman Qureshi is currently working as Director HR British Council. She has a very diverse experience as RJ in the field of HR as well. Previously, she has worked as HR Manager Commercial for PepsiCo. She has also served as HR business leader in the arena of talent acquisition for Coca-Cola. She has also served as Assistant Manager Staffing and Compensation for Mobilink. During her tenure at Mobilink, she has undertaken some very, very challenging assignments and managed to deliver quality results despite facing numerous challenges. Assalamu alaikum, Nariman, and assalamu alaikum, Sir Chauhan. How are you doing?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to being here, and of course, I'm going to join in and say, hey, UMT.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, same for me. Hey, UMT, how are you doing?
Hope they are doing very good. So now we will proceed the session, and Nariman, what do you think? What thought leadership is all about, and what is its scope in the challenging world today?
Thought leadership, I mean, if we break it down to the basics, it's just about being an expert or the go-to person for a particular idea. And it's about understanding what you want to be the thought leader of. Har koi ban sakta hai thought leader. Isme koi, there's no issue with that. But it's just about having the passion to drive yourself to be the perfectionist in that area, to develop your skills in that area, to become the go-to person in that area. There's a lot of scope, and we've talked about organizations now focusing a lot on thought leadership, and that's because we've realized that it is the future growth strategy for organizations. It's not just about the products anymore. It is about packaging and showcasing your best practices and processes. So definitely a lot of scope for that in the future.
Okay, from my aspect, if we are teaching leadership courses, which most of the universities are. So in your mind, what should be the graduates' focus if they want to go into this field or with this perspective in mind when they graduate? Meaning, what should be the curriculum side be from the teaching perspective if you think as a person who's going to hire people or going to look at them?
I think I need to be really candid here. What we've noticed, I've attended, let's say, I've gone to different universities, I've spoken to people in various organizations, and the sort of feedback that we get from a lot of them is, it comes down to the same thing, that we have a lot of students who graduate who want to be leaders, and they come out thinking कि बस अब मैं top पे हूँ और मैं अब ये करूँगा और वो करूँगा, which is fine. It's a great attitude to have, but it's important to balance that with a sense of reality as well.
Yeah.
Organizations do not expect you to be at the top of your game when you graduate. We want to invest, organizations want to invest in building you and developing your skills and honing those to make you a productive member of that organization, a productive member of society, and all of those things. So I think it's about balancing that and making sure we get that right. But for students, again, we were talking about this earlier, where it is about developing your confidence. And I think, those other skills, all the universities can teach them to you, whether, it's about listening or communicating and all of that. But confidence and that attitude, the positive attitude, is something that as students, I feel we really need to focus on.
I like at UMT, what we are focusing on is, as I was share with you, is that about confidence, character, and credibility. I think these were the three words we were talking about.
Yeah.
So when, in my point of view, or the question that I would like to ask is, what are the skills? The reason I'm asking this is that what are the skills in your mind that when the student graduates, he or she should possess, so that whenever they get the opportunity to take that leadership role, they have that. Okay. Besides the confidence, we understand that.
Of course. So if you're looking at purely at the skills perspective, you have listening skills will always be there. The ability to practice human engagement and empathy will be there, because leaders, as we know, it's not necessarily just about getting the work done. It is about how you get the work done and how you motivate people. So the engagement or understanding human psychology from that perspective, listening skills are there. Analytical skills, because when you are at the top or the leader, you are expected to be able to build links across various parts of the organization and understand it as a system and not as parts of a system. So that sort of analytical thinking needs to be there. Critical analysis needs to be there. Presentation skills, which we don't focus on enough, definitely need to be there. And when I think one of the biggest things which, even when you look at people today at the top, something which we often lack is the ability to do self-assessment and self-awareness.
Great.
That is, I think, essential. And that whether you're a student or a CEO, you'll need to have it. And I think you can develop it from a very early stage.
Thank you. Let me ask you another question. I mean, there's a project that has been going on at UMT. Not a project, but it is more like a statement that our leadership skills students work on, and it is called Helping a Child is Building a Nation. It's one of the taglines that I've used in all of my leadership classes for the past 6 semesters or 5 semesters. And what the students do is they have to go out and help a child. And now, from the British Council, the reason I'm sharing this with you is from the British Council representative for the future classes or for the next semester. What can British Council do for this little? It's a little thing that students do. They go out, and what we are seeing now is that students are inverting it. They are going inside. They're saying before, the batches before, we're going out and taking it. Now, this batch that is coming in, they're saying, what about us?
Yeah.
Start from yourself.
Start from
that child
within.
is helping a child is building a nation. So all I'm saying is that this is a project. So in what kind of projects could British Council be of where we can create alliances for our students to work with? Or
I can.
Or,
at the top of my head, we do have an active citizens program, which we work with various universities. And that, again, is about students from different universities across Pakistan working together for social change. So that's definitely a program where, I can get someone to get in touch with you to see how we can get UMT involved. But I just want to highlight that initiative or that project that you've mentioned, I think, is extremely important. And even when I have a talk later today, it's already in there as one of the points, that the ability to understand CSR, because now what organizations are looking at for the future, it's not just about how you impact within that organization. It is about understanding how you impact the wider society, the economy of the wider society. And if you can develop that kind of insight and that thought process, that definitely helps, because it's not just about the bottom line anymore. We've gone past that as organizations, whether you're in the development sector or even if you look at the bigger corporates or the commercial entities, जो focus अब CSR पे आ रहा है और जो programs लोग launch कर रहे हैं, marketing में भी अगर आप देखें तो it's not just focused on saying our product is great. It's about how does our product impact society?
Sure.
Because that's what people want. So the CSR perspective, I think, is critical.
और UMT में भी हमारा जो CSR का ऑफिस है, it's under the leadership of Dr. Navita Kichlu. She is also heading that, and we, as you know, that UMT has just become the first university to be drug-free university. So we are really like a smoke-free and drug-free.
That's very
if
cool.
you smoke or you have to go out.
You're out.
You're out. But basically, what I'm saying is that is an emphasis that we are trying to put on. So I think that would be a good initiative. Just from the perspective of thought leadership, when you are saying thought leadership, that means आप उसे उर्दू में जरा बयान कीजिए कि thought leadership क्या है?
You're putting me in quite a difficult position. This is like a tough test for me.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, but I need to put myself in uncomfortable situations as well. Thought leadership, अगर मैं उर्दू में कहूँ तो basically अगर आप अपने area में माहिर बनते हैं, ठीक है, आप अगर किसी को कोई सवाल है एक टॉपिक के ऊपर और आप वो बंदा है जिसके पास वो जाएंगे, you can consider yourself of somewhat, a thought leader of that particular area. You need to be the go-to person. That's the easiest way for me to define it.
So are you saying कि आपके पास कोई आएगा तो आप thought leader हैं कि या आप एक unique thought के साथ lead कर रहे हैं?
It works both ways. I think it's very important. Later in my talk today, I will talk about a cycle of thought leadership, right? So it's, yes, you can have that unique idea. आपके पास बिल्कुल unique idea हो सकता है, लेकिन अगर खाली आप अपने पास ही रखेंगे, उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है. फिर आप thought leader अपने लिए होंगे, but बाकियों के लिए आप thought leader नहीं बने.
In your opinion, thought leadership is basically pushing the idea forward and you lead it. Yeah.
It has to be communicated to the wider audience. आपको अपने साथ लोगों को ले जाना पड़ेगा. You need to convert them. You need to have your advocates. You need to shout and talk about that idea.
With full confidence and full passion. Okay.
तो अकेले में कोई फायदा नहीं.
So having, known about that, you have such a diverse experience in HR. So in your opinion, what do you think that what role specifically HR should play in grooming the leaders of tomorrow?
Okay, so this is
a very challenging question.
Challenging, yes, and something which I feel quite strongly about as well. Having worked in HR in various organizations, and I've seen different organizations may HR ka level of input into, let's say, how much they engage with students, how much they engage with fresh grads, how much they engage with new joiners, and everything varies. But for me, I think for developing thought leaders, how much can HR do? To be honest, not that much.
Not that much.
Because that is something that is individually driven and an individual passion. We can provide opportunities and platforms and encourage that sort of behavior. And that, again, comes down from the leaders. HR cannot do anything in an organization unless it has the buy-in or is able to manage their stakeholders of top management, because they are the ones who drive your culture and build that kind of environment where you can, develop thought leaders. Organizations, like I said, are focusing on that more and more, and HR is changing systems and processes to support that kind of thinking and to support that kind of change. Change management, yes, but comes under HR. But for me, what I would like to see HR doing more is engaging with students at an earlier stage. It is about engaging with new joiners at an earlier stage when you have management training programs and things like that. Yes, it's important to tell you कि अच्छा ये organization की values हैं, ये organization का culture है, और ये आपका काम है अगले 6 महीनों के लिए. लेकिन that's not enough.
Yep.
You are there to be that person's right-hand man, or the one who will help them navigate through that organization's culture and the relationships and the intricacies. Which
this is a very right word you use over here. Navigate. You have to navigate.
You do have to navigate, and I do think HR needs to step up and play that role a lot more. The other issue is that a lot of people who come into HR think कि अच्छा मैं HR में तो मैं recruitment करूँगी या मैं OD करूँगा जो भी है, लेकिन they forget कि आपको business आना चाहिए.
Yep.
You cannot be a good HR manager, HR director, HR whatever, if you don't know the business and what your organization or company actually does, and how they do it. To provide that kind of input or insight, or even to help develop thought leaders, you won't be able to do it unless and until you're helping someone get through that and providing them that feedback on and off.
Yeah, this is what the environment is also saying, and the word is getting too competitive, and employers are looking for more 360-degree kind of package for students, who have all kind of abilities. Yeah. So what kind of innovations are coming? You think that students need to focus on, and they need to incorporate those kinds of abilities into them to prosper in their careers, either as an entrepreneur or as a job seeker?
I think the biggest buzzword these days, other than maybe thought leadership, is digital. Digital is an arena which I think in Pakistan we have a lot of scope to develop a much better understanding of, whether it's digital marketing or anything else. Digital is an area which students need to focus on to understand how to use it, when to use it, the advantages, disadvantages, and everything.
An interesting question that I just thought of is, how do you see the role of gender in HR, since you are working with British Council, all right, and with this concept of thought leader, how does leadership? I mean, have you seen any? I mean, does gender have a role to play in it, or in our society, जहाँ पे हम रहते हैं?
Bilkul. I think one of the biggest things which we have seen globally is the lack of gender representation at senior level posts. Gender के लिए मतलब, and by gender I don't just mean कि, female representation, but it's about having a balance and getting that perspective. So you can't have just a male-dominated view of the world, because you're not going to reach your target audience necessarily.
Right.
Even if you look at a lot of corporates and commercial organizations, they realize that they need to speak to the women because they are the decision makers in the household.
Right.
So unless you have them on that thought panel or taking those decisions, I think it's sort of going to have a very skewed.
All right. Well, at the moment, we have a short break in which we will be dedicating a song to our special guest speaker, Miss Nariman.
Thank you.
Nariman, which song would you like to hear right now?
One of my favorite songs these days is Ed Sheeran's Castle on the Hill, so that'd be great.
Okay, listeners, so have a nice track, and we'll be right back.
When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg. And I was running from my brother and his friends, and tasted the sweet perfume of the mountain grass I rolled down. I was younger then. Take me back to when I found my heart, broke it here, made friends and lost them through the years. And I've not seen the boring fields in so long. I know I've grown, but I can't wait to go home. I'm on my way, driving at 90 down those country lanes, singing to Tiny Dancer, and I miss the way you make me feel. It's real. We watch the sunset over the castle on the hill. 15 years old and smoking hand-rolled cigarettes, running from the law through the backfields and getting drunk with my friends. Had my first kiss on a Friday night. I don't reckon that I did it right, but I was younger then. Take me back to when we found weekend jobs, and when we got paid, we'd buy cheap spirits and drink them straight. Me and my friends have not thrown up in so long. Oh, how we've grown, but I can't wait to go home. I'm on my way, driving at 90 down those country lanes, singing to Tiny Dancer, and I miss the way you make me feel. It's real. We watch the sunset over the castle on the hill. Over the castle on the hill. Over the castle on the hill. One friend left to sell clothes, and one works down by the coast. One had 2 kids but lives alone. One's brother overdosed. One's already on his second wife. One's just barely getting by, but these people raised me, and I can't wait to go home. And I'm on my way. I still remember these old country lanes when we did not know the answers, and I miss the way you make me feel. It's real. We watch the sunset over the castle on the hill. Over the castle on the hill. Over the castle on the hill.
You're listening.
UMT Radio.
The only one campus radio station. This is
98.2 FM.
Stay tuned.
This will be a very bamboo session.
जिसमें होगा बहुत कुछ which will help you polish and reflect the unique brand within you.
Hey, UMT. All right, we both did it. All right, UMTN students, we're already going through a session with Nariman Qureshi, the HR Director of British Council. We are having a little informative discussion before, but let's ask her about herself and see what was her student life like and what was her experiencing as and where has she been and where has she traveled. So आप कहाँ फिरी हैं और आपकी स्टूडेंट लाइफ जो है उसके बारे में कुछ बताइए ताकि स्टूडेंट्स जरा आपसे रिलेट कर सकें.
My student life actually quite a little bit all over the world. I've been very fortunate having the opportunity to study in New York, in Brussels, in Kuala Lumpur, South Africa, Sri Lanka. So a little bit of all over. And I've been... What I've enjoyed most, actually, of the opportunity that I've had is the ability to work or, meet people from so many different backgrounds and so many diverse countries. And, when people say, traveling really opens up your eyes and you should experience things, I 110% would never change this experience for anything else in the world. A lot of people say, but you don't have any of those friends that you grew up with, bachpan ke dost and this and that. Yeah. And I'm like, I have bachpan ke dost all over the world. So for me, I would never, I'm very happy that I've had the opportunity to grow up everywhere and experience so many different things and immerse myself in so many different cultures. And I think that's really helped me in my professional life because now when I work from one organization to the next, it doesn't take me so long to get an understanding of what that culture is or what the pulse of that organization is. And being in HR, I think it really helps because you naturally have an ability to connect with people a lot faster.
Sure.
So, I think my upbringing, so to speak, has sort of helped me come into this direction of HR. Though, when I graduated, I definitely didn't think HR was where I wanted to be. Books mein padhne to HR is a little bit of the drier,
yes,
drier
it
subject.
Comes across like that,
right?
Yes,
so
yes.
You're reading it and you're like, "Acha, ab kaun HR mein jaye?" And everybody wants to go into marketing and branding
yes.
and the glamorous side of things. And I was no exception. I started my career in advertising. And I did it for about 6 months. और फिर मुझे ख्याल आया कि यार ये मेरे लिए इतना सही नहीं है. It's not the best place for me. So उसके बाद I just happened to walk in for an interview for a procurement position at Mobilink. And when I had my HR interview, I was very lucky because the HR manager just asked me, she's like, do you even like numbers? And I said, no, actually, मुझे बिल्कुल भी नहीं पसंद numbers. So she asked me, अच्छा HR का कभी सोचा है? मैंने कहा नहीं, लेकिन try कर लेते हैं. And I haven't looked back since.
Okay,
so I've been very happy.
All right, so you talk about the culture. You have been having a very diverse culture. So coming back to the thought leadership, so what do you think that there's a lot of focus in thought leadership and thought leadership. So what benefits organizations are having from this thought leadership concept nowadays?
Like I said, it is the future growth strategy for a lot of organizations. So if you are thought leaders, whether it's about packaging your best practices and processes, that's definitely there. The other thing is people who are looking at you as an employer want to work with thought leaders. The employee base has changed. The way people think has changed. I mean, you talk about various talks these days that you have about millennials and them wanting to have a purpose in life.
Yeah.
So if you are a thought leader, you do have a purpose. There is a passion. There is something that's driving you. You are more likely to attract people of that sort of mindset and of that sort of nature as well. So there's huge benefits. You run the risk of, people who are thought leaders, once they go, what do you do? Yeah. But I think the benefits definitely outweigh the cons, so to speak.
So from the student perspective, most of my students, or as a director also, and also as an advisor, I try to put a lot of focus on female leadership. And I put all the girls in my class into a leadership position. And so when you are talking, and as you're, mashallah, a successful person working in HR, so what should you guide the current students, female students, as to what they should focus on and what should their mindset be? It's all about mindset. I think at the end of the day, आप किस तरह सोचते हैं और अपने बारे में कैसे देखते हैं, and thought leadership, I think this leads into the thought leadership where you develop yourself कि जहाँ पर आप go to person बनते हैं.
बिल्कुल. 2-3 चीजें हैं. एक, I think one of the biggest concerns that I've had with a lot of, let's say, young female employees who've come in, once you join an organization, you should check your gender at the door. It is not that मैं ये नहीं कर सकती और मैं late sittings नहीं कर सकती क्योंकि, you need to leave that mindset behind. You need to be focused. And yes, organizations do understand that there are certain obligations on, women at home and all of that. And they usually take that into account.
Okay.
We don't forget about it. But you as a woman or as a man should not be using that as an excuse.
Right, don't use your gender as to get any undue advantage or anything.
So that's one. The second thing,
how can you develop that in the education system? I mean, in your point of view, how do you develop that? That's something it comes from home.
It does come from home.
So, but how does an institution help
I think
students
it's about
develop that?
Like you've said, you give them those opportunities. You provide them those channels where
they
come into that leadership role, so to speak, and they understand the requirements and the commitments and the dedication that you need to deliver in that role. So I think that is definitely one good thing. The second thing, which I don't know how many students watch TED Talks and how many don't, but if you don't, you definitely should, because once you start watching one, you end up watching about 10 of them in a row. But there's a TED Talk by a woman by the name of Susan Catalano. I'm probably pronouncing it. Yeah, but she talks about the missing 33%. And this is specifically about women in leadership roles. And what happens is that in organizations, when you have mentoring systems or coaching systems, the area that mentors even tend to focus on with women mentees is the confidence. It's about building networks and relationships, and nobody talks about that 33%, which is the business.
Oh, okay.
You need to understand the business. So you need to bring financials and numbers into your talk and into your presentations and all of those things. And women, either by the nature of the roles that they tend to leave that out. So
and the culture doesn't, in any culture or every culture, or is
in
it
most cultures. This is not a Pakistan thing. This is a global phenomenon.
Great.
Right? So this is a global issue, and it's something where, the more we talk about them understanding that missing 33%, the sooner we can hope to have more women in leadership roles.
Great. I think anything that you would like to share with the students?
Your last golden words which you would like to give to students.
The golden words that I have for students. I mean, I think, the university that you guys are at is providing you some wonderful opportunities. And I mean, I think if I was growing up and I had the opportunity to have a radio station or a TV station within my own university, I think it would be amazing. And I think you guys are getting the opportunity to get exposed to so many different areas and so many different fields.
The digital world.
The digital world, yeah. And that is the future. And I think you should definitely take full advantage. And it is, just focus on what it is that you need to do, understand what it is that you want to do, and work towards that. And I wish you all the most success that you can possibly get.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nariman.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Sir.
You're welcome, and I thank you very much for conducting such a great interview and giving us an opportunity.
It was an honor to have you both in our studios today. As a nutshell, if I say that what was the end of this talk was that now millennials have to be thought leaders to rock in the world of work. Either they are going to be entrepreneurs or job seekers, and either it's our institution or other stakeholders like employers. They are ready to provide multiple opportunities to help students groom and, to emerge as thought leaders of tomorrow.
I would like to share is that Einstein said that education is not memorization of facts.
Yep.
It is teaching of the mind to think.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very important thing for all the people involved, all the stakeholders, the employers, and especially the institutions,
Yeah.
and of course the students, to learn how to start thinking. And I think this thought leadership comes to that if you start thinking as to what you want to know, where you want to be, and who you want to be, and how do you want people to come to you, and why do they want to come to
Absolutely. So thank you so much to all of you, and we wish you good luck, and we will stay tuned to you, and you will be having a lot more sessions like this. So thank you, and God bless you all.
Cause you're a sky full of stars. I'm gonna give you my heart. Cause you're a sky full of stars. Cause you light up the park. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. Cause in the sky full of stars, I think I saw you. Cause you're a sky full of stars. I wanna die in your arms. Cause you get lighter the more it gets dark. I'm gonna give you my heart. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. Cause in the sky full of stars, I think I see I think I see.
98.2 UMT Radio.